Welcome to Deucecast Extra. We are live on a Tuesday to talk about some television. We are the TV wing of the Deucecast Empire. We also release every Wednesday a movie podcast. So we have got a 3.5 hour episode of Reflections dropping tomorrow or something ridiculous like that.
It's
so
long, yeah,
but it's good. It's really long.
It's necessary.
It is.
The
it's
nation.
necessary. That's right. It's very necessary. As you can see, we've got a full crew here tonight because we are talking some Marvel Echo, and then later on we'll be hitting up some Percy Jackson episode 5. The chat is already going strong with Andrew, Brian, and Ted. How's it going,
busting.
guys?
It's full.
It's full. It's full
the
blown.
Chat is busting.
Jacob, how goes it over there in Wyoming?
Good. We're finally done with the cold weather, all the way up to 26 degrees. It's
great.
It's nice out. It's sweatshirt. It's hoodie weather.
Good to hear. You're like in a t-shirt. I'm down here freezing in my basement.
It is cold,
and you're in a t-shirt.
I think you
said I do have a heater
dust.
right there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Where's the dog? I don't see the dog.
The dog is. She loves her kennel.
Oh, look at
just
that.
loves the kennel.
All right.
Doors open. She just. It's sometimes it's hard to get her to sleep on the bed.
Yeah, it's like a comfort thing. That happens.
Yeah.
Cages are safe.
I understand it. Garrison, how's it going in Georgia?
Going great. Watching more movies. I'm even still reading, watching TV shows. You know, it's things are going well. Working way too much. But yeah.
You know, that's part of being an adult. You have to work a lot.
Yeah.
Dr. Earl, how's it going?
Filling in for other people's jobs when they're sick and
yes. Welcome to reality. Welcome to reality. Dr. Earl, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing well. I think all the cold weather from Jacob's neck of the wood has come our way. So tomorrow, I think we're down to single digits.
Yep.
Now we're not going to get into negative digits, but we will be in single digits.
Single digits.
I
nice
do agree.
-10, -15 weather over the weekend.
Yes. Andrew said cages are comfy, and they are. I'll stop there.
Like father, like son.
You got a Vicks inhaler or something going on over there?
What is Garrison doing?
Salts.
He's getting ready. He's getting ready on bath salts.
He's waiting on his pinky nail hasn't grown out yet.
Snuff? What is that? Snuff?
Just
the Vapo inhaler. Okay.
And back for a Marvel show because we can't do Marvel without Red. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, good. I hope everybody is great.
So we were blessed with the first Marvel Spotlight show, that being Echo. This is a character that we are familiar with. You know, she was also in Hawkeye, introduced to the character there. And for those that read like comics, which I don't, she's apparently a comic book character as well. This isn't like Kahori, who is completely made up. Echo was a pre-existing character who has a pretty good storyline, according to my brother-in-law, who is a Marvel fan. He has read a storyline with her in it that's really good. No, this is a different brother-in-law.
Is it? Did she start in Daredevil, Garrison? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she started in Daredevil. Was it under Bendis? I think maybe.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's right.
I can look that up. But
I am the Bendu, the one in the.
We've never said that we're comic book guys on here. I mean, we watch a lot of TV and movies.
What's her power?
No, actually,
in the comics? Does she just repeat herself a lot?
She's David Mack and Joe Quesada created her.
She, as we find out in this series, she's all the Jedi. She's all the Jedi. So
in the comics, her Echo power is she can mimic whatever move you use against her. So
I thought that was Taskmaster.
Well, I'm just letting you know. That's
is that really what it is in the comics?
No, she echoes your moves, and so it's like it's hard to fight against her.
Well, they did not go that way with the character at all in this series.
They did not. We're going to find out where they went.
No, in fact, they gave her like mystical powers too, which I knew was happening.
Yeah, kind of.
But yeah,
but I still don't understand what they are. But
yeah.
Well, she just basically has all the powers of her ancestors before her.
It's like Shazam. She's got the.
She is all the Jedi.
Cunning of the.
She's all the Jedi. Yeah.
She's all the Jedi.
No, Andrew. You know what? I don't think so. I don't think she
this is a terrible character. No. This is a not even an anti-hero, but a straight villain. She's a horrible person.
She's not a Mary Sue though.
No.
I would agree with that.
She's too loathsome and evil and vile to be your typical Mary Sue.
Yeah, she also does fail at least, but.
Well, I mean, I think that she, at the time that the series starts, that yes, she is probably.
She was a bad guy initially, right?
Still cold-hearted. I mean, but I think
she didn't redeem herself from any of that either. I mean, she's still a villain. This is a show about a villain who did nothing to. She didn't become good.
Can we please use the term anti-hero? I'd rather use the term anti-hero.
She brought war to these innocent people back home. And let me tell you something about these innocent people in Tamahaw, Oklahoma, or whatever they were.
Right. Yeah.
Tahoma. Is that it? I don't know. I don't know. Don't care.
Tahoma.
She has been gone now for 15 years, and every single person in that town, even though she was gone, they kept up their American Sign Language skills the entire time that she was gone, with not a deaf person in sight to talk to use it on. They are all fluent in ASL for her, even though she's been gone for 15 years. And then she comes back and brings war back to them.
Earl, I think unless you're fluent in sign language, I think that's really offensive.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be doing that if I were you.
She's certainly not appreciative.
I apologize. I apologize to our deaf listeners.
Listen, everybody in that town knew American Sign Language for this one girl who was 8 years old and then left. Yeah, and they all just remembered it like they've been doing it their whole every day since. It was a dangest thing.
I don't know much about it. Maybe it's like riding a bike.
Well, I used to know hundreds of ASL words when I was 8 years old, and now I know zero. So if you don't use it,
it's muscle memory. Muscle memory.
Well, yeah. Any language
I still remember my alphabet a little bit.
It would have been a good. It probably would have been a wise storytelling device to have another deaf character, maybe her friend that was there when she was a kid. So it would make more sense that, I mean, that for me, that is honestly the biggest problem with this series.
Was her mom deaf too, though? I think her mom was deaf as well.
She died before she left.
She died,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because...
one thing that I think the show did well related to that deaf stuff is every now and then you would get a point of view from the Maya character, and there was no audio, there was no sound, right?
Yeah,
I think I wish they had done more of that, frankly.
Where her fights were like muffled.
I thought that was one of the more interesting things. They could have used that in more ways than they did. That would have been an interesting take. What little bit we got of it, I did like. I wish they had kind of gone a little deeper with it. But
I think the most unlikable character in the whole show is the grandma.
Oh, you didn't like
really?
No, just completely a dirtbag.
Yeah,
even by the end of the show,
your grandchild when your mother dies, like who does that to an 8-year-old?
I couldn't be in contact with you because you reminded me too much of her. That's not a good excuse. That's like evil.
Yeah, well, and there's a reason why Echo walks out, which is I didn't even like the end of the show that she's there to like use the powers, and it's like, why do we need her here?
Grandma was kicking butt.
She had no redemption either.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they had that moment where they talked together, right? So
that's where like the bad stuff comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy agrees.
Yeah.
He was a douche. Hey, but listen. Give me some biscuits all day long. If we get a Madison and Biscuits show, I'm all in.
I want an Avengers show like with all the unpowered characters. I want Aquafina. I want Biscuits, Madison, Lewis. Give me all the
Bonnie. Bonnie was good. I liked the
laugh
very
out loud funny that Aquafina's
really
not her Marvel name.
Yeah.
No, it's
you have to have
I have no idea what her name was.
Her name is Katie.
I think her name was Katie.
Yeah, it was Katie.
Yeah, I think
that's ridiculous.
The only reason I know that is I read an article about the movie for some reason about Shang-Chi recently.
Graham Greene was fantastic.
Yep. And Graham Greene was Scully. Scully. He's always great.
A national treasure.
He's on my good list.
Station's treasure.
First Nations treasure.
I love when he was like trying to get those people that he's like,
so that
pay me money now or whatever he's saying. He was saying something like
the first episode, I think, is the reason why I ended up not liking the series that much, because they didn't continue in the city. She went to Oklahoma, and I think that just like ruined the whole series.
Watch boring Oklahoma? I mean,
for real,
Lord.
Does want to watch
we
boring.
Apologize to all of our Oklahoma watchers.
Hey, I love Tulsa King.
But how out of place is Kingpin in rural Oklahoma?
Right.
Yes. About as out of place as Sylvester Stallone was in Tulsa.
Right.
Yeah, like that's. I think that was
Tulsa King.
Overall, I don't despise this show. I don't think it was the worst thing that I've seen in the last 12 months. That, of course, is Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, the stinkiest turd I've ever watched. This is better than that. But I don't like what they did to Kingpin at all. That is that they
okay. Elaborate. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like he was neutered. Like Maya had plot armor against him just constantly, where all these reasons to get rid of her, but he doesn't, and you can say, he loved her or whatever, and then he's in Oklahoma, like out of place, like fish out of water. He shouldn't be there. Mm-hmm. They should have sent thugs to get her and bring her back. Which I know they tried, but I didn't like the portrayal of him at all, and I think he was really neutered. I think when a deaf one-legged girl defeats the villain, then that lowers the stakes for that villain going forward. I really think so.
I'll push back a little bit, because I don't think she technically defeated him by herself.
Yeah, she didn't even physically defeat him. She used her spiritual powers of
you know what I mean?
Like, touch.
He was neutralized by this side character that no one cares about.
But
that does not build him up as a threat, as a street level threat to carry like a long-term thread.
So I think that maybe
I did not love the ending.
I think that Kingpin actually loves her though, and so like he's weakened in and of that way automatically, which is to me that works.
Maya, you're my.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think besides for Vanessa, that's the closest familial relationship he's got in this whole world.
Right.
But he exposed himself out in this rural town.
Yeah. He should have had
away from the security that this infrastructure that he has in New York, all to go hunt her down. And it did to me, certainly and I know Kingpin more from the comics and obviously from the Daredevil show. But that didn't seem like him to me. It seemed so far out of character that it was just like it was very. You wouldn't have expected that anywhere else except in this show, and I didn't care for it. I thought that was one of the weaker parts of it in a show that was not totally terrible all the way through. That was one of the things that I wish was different.
Can you highlight Andy's comment real quick?
I will, yeah. I mean, because that was a bit confusing for me as well.
No, I don't think so, which is why I think that whole kind of ending felt kind of pointless, because she didn't heal him. I mean, she made him kind of relive some things, and he seemed to back off, but he's going back to New York to be mayor, to rule a city. I mean, that's what he's doing, and get power. I mean,
or is he just healed from that sort of
that trauma and
father wounds?
Well, there is that.
But then it just made him a better villain, right? Because now he's like, I don't have all this weakness in me.
Well, now he feels
she is a villain because she just helped him become a better villain.
She doesn't know that though. She doesn't know that like by him reliving whatever trauma that he had as a child, she doesn't know that he's going to use that to become an evil mayor of New York City.
Can I say I that's my least favorite aspect.
Frozen.
No, not on our end.
No.
My least favorite aspect of the show is the whole healing thing. Let's dump that power. Let's go away from that.
But can she actually heal?
This series is very Rise of Skywalker. Rey has healing powers. She's all the Jedi.
Rise of Skywalker was more fun to me.
Yeah, for sure. I almost fell asleep during every single one of these episodes.
Oh man, poor Rat.
Okay.
Oh, I guess Rat.
We're having some Okay,
there we go.
I just went out for a little bit, didn't I?
No, you're back.
Birmingham is having issues, huh?
No, but I did go out a minute ago.
Yeah,
really? It's never went out on our end. No, it never went out.
My internet went down for like.
So what were you saying, Garrison? The least favorite part was the healing part of it.
Yeah, my least favorite part was the healing aspect of that. We really didn't need it. They introduced it in like the final episode, basically, with the bird, and then it gets used in that final fight. I thought it was a totally pointless part of it. I'm okay with the mystical hand stuff and them kind of locking in on like their powers. And look, I can. That's whatever. Well, I think it's kind of
Marvel. I mean, it's fine.
It's kind of like it's kind of Deus Ex Machina, where as soon as they lock in, they can do the thing that they really wanted to do. Whatever. But the healing thing, I was really kind of bothered by a bit.
Yeah, it's a little clunky because I mean we're having a discussion of what did she really do to defeat him, and we don't know. Like it was so ill-defined that we have no idea what her power set even is right now, and that's not great. And look, the mysticism
I think
stuff,
I could do with that.
The farther the MCU has gone into that, I don't mind the cosmic stuff. That was okay. I like it. That's kind of how Thor and the Norse gods started, right?
It surprised me at the beginning too, and I liked it. It was a good surprise.
What's that?
I didn't know that's how it was going to start. Like I like that it started that way. I was like, "Whoa, this is like something that I wasn't expecting." In the show.
We didn't. We don't like that. No, we don't like that at all.
I do. I thought it was okay.
You mean the very beginning of the show?
The Choctaw stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
I liked it better when Thor described to Jane. He was like, what you see as magic is just it's advanced science, right? And I liked that approach. And the farther that the MCU
talking about Thor
from that, where we get Zeus and all this goofy silliness, and we get the witches and some of that kind of stuff, and these origin stories that we got were pretty grounded, right? Iron Man's just technology. Captain America was a formula. Thor is from space. Hulk is radiation. Just this out of the earth mysticism.
Ryan, don't speak too soon.
I don't think fits it as well as the more grounded side of it for me. And the more they do, then the less I feel. And I don't. Look, so all the Choctaw gods are real. All the Norse gods are real. All the Greek gods are real.
Yeah,
all the Egyptian gods are real. When is Jesus Christ going to make an appearance in the MCU? Why is that? Why is he the only one that doesn't exist?
That's just the comics. I mean, that's not like
but it's just you don't have to embrace every quirky, goofy thing in the comics.
Maybe about 50 years from now, when the culture turns. It'll be revealed that all of these MCU gods are actually demons, and the superhero to overcome them is Christ.
Maybe we'll get that, and then your Deus Ex Machina will be literally God in the machine.
Exactly.
I think I would have preferred. This is just me though. I would have preferred if she's a street level brawler, right? In
as far as we know,
I would have been okay if the Choctaw mysticism energy had just enhanced her natural powers of fighting.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden she's a better brawler, a little bit stronger,
punch a little harder, a little faster.
But the fact that they made her into she can do everything. She can do the healing. She can do I just thought, okay, now we're getting into Gaia territory a little bit.
I mean, she could only do things that her previous ancestors could.
I know,
and her direct previous ancestors.
All the previous girl boss women that were in her line.
I guess none of them could hold down a job for very long. Where does she work?
Where does who work? What are you talking
Maya.
Hey, her grandmother is
she's a mercenary. That's her job.
That's her job.
Her job is to kill people.
Chula, the grandmother, is a post office
she
worker.
Worked for Kingpin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then she shot him in the head, and now she's just out doing her own thing. Like
he got better though.
I mean, she doing like DoorDash or something off camera that we don't see.
She probably has a lot of money from all the work that
millions of dollars.
Yeah, she's probably.
Well, I didn't see her swing by an ATM at any point in the series either.
her people took care of her. She stole a bike. She drove to Oklahoma.
You saw her pull the cash out and give it to whatever his name is.
Biscuits?
You know,
yeah, she had a fat roll of cash.
Oh, she did, didn't she?
Come on now,
for groceries.
Biscuits was so excited to see her,
yeah.
and Biscuits was so good. He just knew the ASL.
That dude.
I need Biscuits and Madison.
Maybe the stupidest scene in the whole show was when Biscuits is like looking at the car, and he's like, says the stupid crap about nothing's ever broken if you work hard enough. It was all just so dumb. I hated it.
I don't know what he was, I never even did. What was the resolution to him being at the car lot? Like, I know
he built a monster truck to run over the van.
I thought maybe that was it, but it was like
that's right. He ran over
in an afternoon.
Yes.
He's good at his job. He
had that monster truck
because his grandma definitely wants to deliver mail in a monster truck. That's that is exactly
that's awesome.
A mailbox level.
Yes,
I believe that Biscuits believes that.
Yes, I do.
I don't know how much the Choctaw ceremony there at the end. I don't know how realistic that was. It didn't rain, so I don't know if they got any of that part right or not.
What the heck was that Alison Krauss song doing in this?
Oh yeah,
that was weird.
That was so weird.
That was so random.
I was like, "What? Oh, brother, where art thou?"
Oh, brother, where art thou? Yes.
Was that in the 4th episode or the 5th episode?
I think it was the 4th episode.
The 4th, yeah. It wasn't in the finale. It was in the 4th. Yeah.
Which female ancestor was that one named for?
That played. It was interrupted by the Biscuits car lot scene.
Yes.
Okay,
and then after he found the cars, it started playing again.
So strange.
Hey, but I will give a shout out. I did like the sort of James Bond, like the intro music that they had where they would do the credits and stuff.
Never heard
much better than Secret Invasion.
No, I love that. I thought it was kind of
James good.
It was random to be James Bond-esque with the showing the smoke
and some of the native stuff. I don't know.
Wait, is this true, Brian?
There was a native song that I really liked. I thought
there was.
Yeah, there was.
There was. That might have been it. Maybe that was the Alison Krauss.
Maybe. I don't know it, but I thought the music, all the music stuff, I thought was fit pretty well.
It worked. Yeah, it worked.
I thought that worked pretty well for most of it. But I did like the opening credits. I thought they were much improved over Secret Invasion.
I like those opening credits.
Terrible, but.
And I like the guy Henry, the guy who was kind of running he was like her. I don't know. I never could figure out all the relatives, but
like he was an uncle, maybe an
uncle, and he was sort of.
They're all uncles.
He was running that,
but he's also a world-class cleaner, like the wolf kind of cleaner, right? Or something. I mean, like there were a dozen people killed in that skating rink, and there's nobody cares. Like, where's
no policemen around?
Do these thugs have families? Like what? Like what's the?
It's like Harvey Keitel showed up and cleaned the whole. Yeah, that was interesting.
I'm not sure Alec Cox is that good of an actress, though. I mean, I mean,
she's okay. I mean,
she can look intense, but
that's all she can do.
This you have to understand. This was her first role.
Yeah,
I mean, this was her first role. It's not like she's been doing this.
Well, but you can still.
It's not like she's the guy from Coda who's been working.
But still, if I go in for somebody's first surgery, I don't want them to half-ass that.
I didn't say she's half-assing it. No. Yeah, but
there were a couple of dramatic scenes.
Yeah.
No, there was a couple of scenes where she was supposed to be like arguing with the grandmother that were not. They just didn't click. They didn't quite work. I don't think.
And
part of it is because
it was straight terrible, and that is
what?
Like, you guys know the fight choreography was awful, right? It was awful.
Well, I liked some of the Daredevil. I liked when Daredevil
that fight was terrible. It was as bad as the leak. Like, I mean, it was that scene was leaked, and it was very bad. It was.
I thought his introduction showing up was good, where he threw the.
Well, my question to Marvel
I love they used his canes.
My question to Marvel is why not use the exact same team from the Netflix series?
Yes.
If you're going to do these type of shows,
who knows what schedule
they may have moved on, but
it was just not. It was not good. I thought it was too slow, and they were, you know, somebody compared it like, well, you don't complain about it, and they telegraph moves in pro wrestling, right? Well, pro wrestling is done in front of a live audience. There's 20,000 people there or
it's
more.
Slow as crap, though, Rhett.
It is. I see it, but it's all done in one take.
It is.
You don't have, when you're filming a show like this, you have the luxury to fix those sorts of things, and it looked like they didn't fix it. There were a couple of moves that just looked like these should have been placeholders, and like, okay, run it.
Well, they were trying to do the Daredevil thing. They were trying to do that as a oneer, and they probably shouldn't have done that. Like they were trying to make it look. Well, I know, but
do it again.
That's what I'm saying.
I appreciate the long take. But it was just the choreography was not. It just wasn't very good. It didn't seem like. I don't know if it was her. I mean, he was a stunt double. I mean, that's not Charlie Cox flipping around, but
yes, it was.
She's not.
That was definitely Charlie Cox.
Maybe she's not in a costume. Like so she has to do more, and she's just not that good at it. I don't know what the deal was, but the choreography wasn't great. Do you guys think it was great?
I don't think it was as bad as you're making it out to be.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I don't think it was the worst thing ever. It didn't like blow my socks off again. Falling asleep multiple times, sometimes during fights. So like it wasn't like just captivating, but I don't think it was.
I think that the problem.
You need to get a sleep study, Jacob.
I think that the problem that they're going to have going forward is that everybody's going to want to compare any of the Marvel Spotlight shows to the Netflix series. That's going to be a problem that they're going to have to deal with. Yeah.
They're going to have to ramp it up.
If they don't. Yeah, if they don't ramp it up with the fights, if they don't wrap it up with the storytelling,
especially with Daredevil, with that,
people may compare it only because it's Daredevil to Daredevil, but beyond that,
and Kingpin
make a good show.
Yeah, make a good show. That's what I'm saying. But the comparison will naturally be there. I mean, it just will. I mean, especially now since it's
Daredevil, but I don't know how many people connect it back to.
I mean, Kingpin. That's the connection for Hawkeye and for. I mean, Hawkeye technically probably should have been a Marvel Spotlight, but they made that up right now just for marketing purposes, so they can get people to watch Echo. This out. It was just to get people to watch Echo, and maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Yes, Ted, that's correct.
Yeah, Ted is right.
Well, maybe yeah. I mean,
there was
that one fight at the end was pretty good in Ahsoka. I don't know. But yeah.
No, it wasn't. I can't prove that.
Wait, the witch? The witch? No, no. With at the end with the witch and Ahsoka, that was a good
that
fight.
One was that was the best of the show, probably.
That was the best of the show. Yeah, exactly.
But even the blocking and staging of that was absolute crap. I mean, all the stuff going around them that should have been a part of that. I mean, the staging was terrible, even if the actual one-on-one was okay.
Oh, you're talking about the final battle between Ahsoka and Dathomir, whatever the
Bruce Lee's goddaughter.
What was that character's name? I don't even know.
Who cares?
Nobody cares.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, that's it.
Morgan Elsbeth.
What a Star Warsy name is it?
Yeah.
What kind of Star Wars name is that?
Sounds like a King Arthur legend or something.
Like a character actress you'd see on the on a procedural.
She starred in the 100 on the CW.
Yeah, exactly.
The 100.
Oh my gosh,
man, people love that show.
There was a great scene where Daredevil jumped like with his body like this through a thing. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was harkening back to some of the stuff we saw in the Netflix series.
Yeah, and then when he entered with throwing his billy club and
I don't know. Rhett's offended by that fight scene, but I am not.
He's talking about the melee between them. I thought, I agree with that. That was a little loggy, but I thought.
Look, there's this one part where she sticks her leg up and it's bent back, and like she holds like for a solid second and a half before she extends her leg to kick him, and then like it's like the Luke Skywalker kick in Return of the Jedi. She misses him by this much, and it was just.
Did you ever think that fight maybe wasn't the greatest? I have a reason for why that fight maybe wasn't the greatest. It was a blind guy fighting a deaf one-legged gal.
How in the hell can they communicate with each other?
They didn't know where each other were.
They were just like, where?
Pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah. I guess when you consider all that, that's not.
He sure should have been able to sneak up on her.
I did appreciate the part in the bowling alley where she uses her prosthetic in a way. I'm glad that they included something in the series where she gets to use the prosthetic leg for something.
Oh, are you talking about the MacGyver thing she did where she built something? I didn't even understand. Are you talking about when she was trapped in the room and she all of a sudden started building?
When she's hung upside down.
When she hung upside down.
Oh, no, that was cool. Yeah, no, I agree with that. That was cool.
Yeah.
And I like that they bent her, like they messed it up. Like when she was doing all that train stuff.
On the train, yeah.
I like that it wasn't
I like that
perfect.
too.
I like that it wasn't a perfectly executed Mary Sue event. She had struggles there, and
she had to take it to her grandfather, and he built her this like really springy,
right?
It didn't seem like it was working that well for her.
Well, that's like a real
temporary.
I did like
Brian,
the Make
I
America.
yes.
I did like the Make America skate again.
Brian, it is.
I like. Look, it was clever, but does it from a world? I mean, I know you guys hate when I do this, but from a world building standpoint, does that make any sense at all?
Maybe Henry Blackcrow Lopez is just a very good marketer, and he is the one that created that phrase. And Make America Great Again doesn't exist in the universe.
Maybe it's all. Maybe that's where it started. Was Make America Great Again.
Well,
I really like that phrase. I think I'm going to use it for my next election.
Gonna call Henry.
Did you guys see the Iowa caucus? I blew him out of the water. Tiny Ron. Tiny Ron's what I'm going to call him from now on.
A lot of Roxxon product placement all over the place.
I like the Roxxon placement.
There was a Roxxon mention, and there was another mention. Oh, I can't remember the other. There was a couple of Easter egg type.
Would you really have guys standing on a train protecting a boxcar, though? I wasn't sure of that. I guess Kingpin might, but you just had two guys standing there.
Are movies the only place, and TV shows the only place where things are shipped in wooden crates anymore? Everybody's prying it open with it. That's not how anything ships.
How did she know that was going to get back to New York? She just like, who cares? I don't care. I don't care who I blow up. I just want to kill some people.
Well, you have to imagine that.
Well, yeah. What if the delivery truck swings by a daycare to pick his kids up, and one of them climbs back there on this thing and sets it off? That's a pretty big risk. I'm telling you, she's a villain.
She is a villain.
Well,
it's going to take some work to change.
Her doing that in the show is not portrayed as necessarily a good thing either.
No, right. That's true. Henry gets upset with her very much. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, she didn't do anything that was a good thing the whole show.
Until the ending when
that was all self-preservation. She's not out there being altruistic.
Yeah. Well, but I don't think she's ever going to be a good guy, though. I think
after she had a healing with her grandmother, Chula, then she said, "I can take the healing now from my mother." And place it. She had this moment, and she went down to the river to pray, and with Alison Krauss, and then now she's reformed. She's ready.
I think she's fine. I think
she helped Kingpin work through his father wounds.
She seems. I don't know. She seems like the type that wouldn't even use the whole buffalo.
Why would I eat the tongue?
I'm sure that we're probably not going to get an Echo season 2 per se, but she'll be back in some form, in Born Again maybe, and
those are just humbug.
I think it's interesting because they've gone all reset on Born Again, and I'd be interested to see where even the plot threads of this. Clearly, they're setting up Kingpin to be the mayor of New York City, which was a plot point in Born Again, and there were shots from set of him literally, being a mayoral candidate in that show.
But now he's going to be more Trumpian. He's going to be.
Well,
he's going to be.
Maybe.
I could murder somebody on 6th Street and they wouldn't even care.
He saw that Make America Skate Again, and he's like, "Wait a minute!
Wait a minute! I could use that for my campaign.
Make New York great again."
Yeah.
my point with all that is apparently D'Onofrio said they basically sat down and they've totally retooled that show, and they've decided to canonize the old Netflix shows officially Like originally, they were kind of keeping it in an ambiguous state where they could kind of do whatever they wanted. Like, oh, that's sort of canon, but not exactly or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now they've officially put it in the timeline.
Now Jacob's got to watch all episodes.
And Karen and Foggy are now going to be in the actual show they've announced.
That's pretty awesome.
My understanding was Foggy was going to be like a cameo originally. Now
they're going to kill him
both
off.
Going to be back. Yeah. That's my understanding too.
They must have thrown out a substantial chunk of what they had filmed.
They're just starting over. Basically,
they brought in some Daredevil writers and stuff like that to come on board and do some stuff. So yeah, I like the direction they're going with that show. Actually, now
we won't see it until like 2027. But
yeah.
I mean,
be a while, guys.
It's going to be probably. Well, they could probably do a 2026 first quarter, maybe.
Charlie Cox will be on a walker by the time we get to it.
Yeah, it'll be a while, but I actually like that they're. For once, they're shutting things down when things aren't going well and going, yeah, let's actually just retool this.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be.
Yeah, Andy. I mean, why did they start that way? I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
as Cam Newton says, hindsight's 50-50.
Yeah. Now they're going to go far enough into the future that Matt Murdock will be wearing a Geordie LaForge visor, and he'll be able to see fine by the time we get.
Speaking of, I did like that technology that Kingpin had, so you could do the
really
ASL with Maya.
Oh, where the hands were.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
That was a good idea.
I really like that technology. In fact, I think it's something that the Echo character should carry forward in being able to see other people talking.
Yeah,
and
she threw the damn contact out.
She shouldn't have discarded that thing.
I know. That's
great technology to use.
Yeah.
It's
like Daredevil. She was short-sighted.
I get it. For the character of Kingpin, it was trying to show that he wouldn't go and learn ASL and
Well, he knew a little bit.
She can read, though, right?
Signing a little bit.
Could have just been. Wouldn't it have been easier to just show her the words instead of the CGI hands? Just give me the words.
I don't know. Hands flapping at me.
Subtitles.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, right. I mean, she did say that, but he learned it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You're right.
He was one who forgot it. When Rhett was talking about people forgetting ASL. He obviously knew a little bit when she was a child, but now he's just totally pitched it.
Yeah, because you don't use it.
But he's got tech now. He can do tech, and he can put it in, and hey, we know you can get shot in the directly in the face in your eyeball and survive.
Let me tell you exactly what happens to him in the comics with Echo.
Well, that's true. He has both eyes shot out.
Comics are different, and when you
that's why they only did one eye instead of both eyes.
America,
yeah.
Most people who experience real life don't read comics, but they do watch TV.
When we established this Kingpin and Hawkeye, he got shot by arrows and snapped them down off. First off, that is Kingpin. I'm totally cool with him being a little bit more.
That.
He's a mutant, right?
Well, not really. He's just
not
a giant,
strong
human being.
Also, in the comics, remember he was like 8 feet wide. Okay,
yeah, big. Yeah. He was like he is in Spider-Verse.
D'Onofrio is as big as they can make him, and
right. Yeah,
they're like, eat some more pancakes, D'Onofrio.
I didn't like the Also, why didn't she double tap? Like she is an assassin and she shoots him once.
I think
she should have.
She's never seen Zombieland.
She felt guilty after the first shot. She saw how she wounded him.
Well,
because he turned at the last minute. I
think that's a blind spot for her. I think that's kind of her love for him in that situation.
Now she's got blind spots too. Check another box.
I mean, maybe though. I mean, maybe she felt some guilt for trying. She was conflicted in that moment for sure. And maybe it was just like the shock of pulling that trigger.
But I don't
because he certainly probably fell back.
He's her father.
I think we were led to believe that he was, I don't know,
killed.
It was several months. Was it 6 months had passed since then?
5 or 6.
5,
like that. Yeah, 5.
So we are led to believe that he was in the hospital for that period of time.
Right.
The way it's framed and none of them being
coma,
surprised that he's back on the scene. He's the only, remember he called at the last minute the skating rink to stop them from killing her. Wouldn't he be in the process of learning how to eat and walk again, Earl, after he's been shot in the brain and
he turned
for 5 months?
I think it was a glancing blow.
See, this is my
thing. Hospital for 5 months.
No,
glancing blow can still get you pretty good, but not like in the.
We are led to believe that he woke up at the last second and saved her from being killed at the skating rink. The way it's all framed, they can tell you later that ain't what they intended, but that's how it's framed. And
there's drama there. It's nice and dramatic.
That's even more far-fetched than Harrison Ford getting shot up in 1923, and then at least he was, felt at least he get back going again.
It took him a long time to get over that.
It did take him. He finally got back on his horse,
so to speak.
Exactly. I guess
I should let you guys talk.
This is yet another Marvel series that wasn't so bad that you want to just hate it. I mean, because there were some things in there that I enjoyed, but I felt like I personally just wanted it to be in the city the whole time. I was kind of annoyed when they went back to Oklahoma, and I guess I should have known they were going to do that. And I mean, it's just
I don't think I was expecting that. I think
sometimes you got to go backwards to go forwards. All right.
But, I'm some of these. I didn't hate the show. I thought it was okay. I didn't get particularly bored with it. I watched it across over 2 days,
right?
And didn't really. I didn't really hate it. I didn't dislike it. I am nitpicking quite a bit, and one of the things that I've recently done is I have been watching Reacher. Okay, I watched season 1, and now season 2 finale is this week. And it is one of the silliest shows I've ever seen. Okay, it is just very silly. A lot of plot armor, but the characters are endearing. The script is tight. The action's really good. Reacher's it's an interesting character. The story's pretty good, even if it's a little far fetched. But it is very silly, and there are things to nitpick about it. But I don't. When I watch Reacher, I don't feel compelled to complain about, well, you know what? Bad guy should have killed all of them right here. It took me out of it, right? Because it's fun otherwise. It really is. And that's what I want out of Star Wars shows, out of MCU shows. It really is okay for me if these plot holes, some of these things that I could nitpick, I won't nitpick them if everything else is top notch. If the fight choreography good, is if the characters are really interesting, if it's a sharp, fun, script, then I really can't overlook that kind of stuff. Where a movie like Rise of Skywalker is a lot of the plot issues in there happen in other movies too. But everything about that movie is so bad and lame that I can't get over that hump.
And then Secret Invasion, don't forget about that.
Echo was right on the cusp for me. It was not so terrible that all I want to do is rip it a new one. But it wasn't really good enough for me to lock in on. It's not something that I'll remember in a couple of days. It's not something I'd ever revisit. I would like for it to have been better, but I wanted to kind of give that example where it's not like I don't nitpick
Secret Invasion bad
of it. I mean, if you can build it up in other areas, and some of these nitpicks kind of dissolve for me, and then Echo was close.
It's a tier above Secret Invasion and She-Hulk to me. Like it's just above that kind of getting into like Miss Marvel territory where there's things to enjoy about this, things I don't enjoy about this. I think the best thing about it, and let me just say this really quickly. The best thing it had going for it was that it released all 5 episodes at once, so I didn't have to wait weekly for this show. I just was able to get through this. That's
interesting because that was one of those red flags for a lot of people, right? Was they're dumping this whole thing at once, so they don't.
Right.
But I think it worked pretty well for this one.
It helped.
I don't think people would have stuck around for this over several weeks.
No.
So here's what I can't read Jacob, you and Garrison, I can't read the two of you on this show. I throw a lot of dirt at it, and you guys either nod quietly or roll your eyes. Where do you guys sit on it? What do you think about this show?
I'm very apathetic towards it. I think it did bore me most of the time, and I didn't really care. I think maybe that's because I don't have a connection to Kingpin whatsoever. I've never seen Daredevil. The first time
that's right. You didn't watch the Netflix series.
Yeah. Really, the first time I was introduced to Kingpin was in Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse, whatever the first one is.
Did you see Hawkeye?
Oh, okay.
I saw Hawkeye, but Into the Spider-Verse was beforehand.
I think it was first, yeah.
And so, like, I don't have that big of a connection to any of the characters in here, and like, it's there's nothing really like that overly bad about it. It's just pretty boring, and like just pretty fine, and like. I don't mean boring as in bad. I just mean like it just did not keep my interest.
Who cares, right?
Yeah,
didn't keep your interest. Yeah.
I actually was interested in certain things happening in the show. I wasn't overly bored. In fact, episode to episode, I was kind of like, okay, I want to keep watching this. I kind of want to see where this is going. What things are happening with Kingpin? I mean, really, mostly I was interested in what was happening with Kingpin in this show. Maya was whatever. Maya was fine. The Echoes throughout her family thing was really whatever. It's kind of cringe, but and I didn't love the glowy Healy power stuff, but
well, that's fair. Yeah, I didn't. It didn't feel like a chore to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it really didn't, and I didn't like the mystical Echo stuff either. But I liked Biscuits.
Biscuits.
I really liked Biscuits. And I swear, I think Biscuits kept me around as much as anything else in that show. And Graham Greene, I liked his character. I knew
Scully.
I loved that. I was going to get we were going to get a couple of sharp lines from him, and he would deliver them great. I liked it.
I love it. He's the grandpa, right?
Yeah.
I love him selling to the tourists and stuff.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, buy this stuff now.
But the thing about the good thing about Graham Greene is he's been doing this so long, he can also bring it down and have a dramatic scene as well. I mean, so he has that one good conversation. Yeah, I mean,
back to Green Mile. That is one of the first things I remember him in. That's where I really became introduced to him, and I thought he did great. There's enough gravitas, and relatability to him that he feels very natural, and I liked that. Biscuits did not feel natural. I thought that guy was a little forced it a little bit, but he was so goofy and kind of delightful that I enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah.
And he's the guy I would see.
I went back and watched all the Madison clips from She-Hulk, and she absolutely saved that show. I mean, she's the only good thing about that whole show. And it was stupid, but it was the sharpest. It was the sharpest delivery of anything on that show.
Her and Wong both. They played off each other.
Wongers.
Wongers.
That just makes me want to crawl out of my skin.
No, it destroys the Wong character. Absolutely.
Yeah. It does.
In a pile of crap that is that She-Hulk show, that was like the turd floating on the top.
That was like the corn and the turds. You're like, oh, that wasn't in there, I'd eat it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not touching.
I get it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean,
Disney thought they had something that was not good, and so
it's hard to tell anymore.
They were just like, let's try to polish it up. We'll release.
Well, there was a lot of stuff that they cut. I mean, there was a lot because this was originally supposed to be 6 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
So they chopped it down to 5 and gave us the best of what they could.
Also, they did a lot of reshoots. Because
a lot of reshoots.
The initial stuff. Yeah. And my understanding is the initial
that does to a budget. I mean, the show didn't look like they spent a ton of money on it, but they reshot a bunch of stuff, then they did.
Yeah.
My understanding is the initial stuff had more mystical power stuff in it, and they cut back on that, which I'm okay with.
Honestly. They did the right thing then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're going to label it Marvel Spotlight, which is supposed to be more ground level, I mean, I guess that's just what
I think they want you to think Marvel Spotlight's more ground level. I don't really. I don't think that's a hard set rule.
Who knows?
Yeah, I think what they mean by it is like lower stakes, right? Like nothing.
Yeah.
This had no impact, implications
stuff.
on the
multiversal stuff.
Yeah,
character stuff. Introduce new characters that can maybe play a role later on.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's and keep them short like this. 45-minute episodes. Five is a hey. I always. I always think in terms of like 10, 8, or 6, but 5 really suited me for this one.
This series, right? It worked. It worked for this, I mean, whereas apparently Born Again. Now I don't know if they've changed it. It was going to be 20-something episodes.
Yeah, it's going to be old school season.
Oh, it was going to be 18, but I'm guessing they're going to pull back on that. I mean,
I imagine they could do 2 seasons.
So their initial thing was we're going to retain the scripts, we're going to rewrite it and take the footage we've already shot and work it into the new scripts, which are going to be rewrites. But now it seems like they've done like a blow up of everything. So
that means that they've spent a lot of money already that's not going to get used. So I don't know if they can. Can you get another? Do you have enough money to go another 20 episodes?
I don't know. They have to get it right though. If they don't get Daredevil right, that ruins a lot of things. So they got to get it right.
They definitely didn't shoot a ton of that show. I'll say that.
Well, I thought they were before the strikes.
No, I don't think so.
It was an 18-episode show, like an hour each for those 18 episodes. That was the way they wanted to do it. I don't think that they got close to being.
Okay, all right. I could be wrong. Like they were about halfway through when they realized this ain't working. Holy crap!
I don't know. I don't know if
there's a lot of stuff to shoot.
But I don't know what that does. I would love to be like I think the real story there is what does this look like behind the scenes? Because now you've got sets built, you've got locations scouted and all this. And so now creatively, you kind of have to write around that, right? Like you're like, hey, guess where we need a scene to take place here because we built it, I think that's a great story. There's a great story there that I would love to see behind the scenes, read a book about it or something. How that comes to be. Where you in Hollywood of the past, you would have a script and then you'd go get it made. And now people have a show and they're like, or a movie. They're like, give me a script. They kind of write around these action beats. And I think there's some good story to be told behind the scenes there.
And unfortunately, we'll never get it because Disney's just so tight-lipped and never want to admit mistakes.
From a PR standpoint, they don't like that. They don't like that stuff out.
All right. Well, that's about as much as we can do on Echo because we've still got to do Percy Jackson here. So, Dr. Earl, any final Echo thoughts before we let you go?
I'm glad it was short, and
okay, that's fair.
Hopefully, in the future they'll downplay some of the mysticism and just make her a street level brawler. I mean, I don't see going forward. She's going to be some Shazam character where I'm going to pull the best of cunning and the best of healing and the best. I just, I don't want all those actresses to always show up every time she has to.
I see what you're saying.
Fight a villain.
Right.
They're not going to pay for that anyway. But
no, they won't.
No, and I don't even know if she'll ever show up again, to be honest. But
there's a place for her
in cameo in.
There's
Daredevil.
A place for her to cameo in Daredevil, but I mean, it probably won't be like a whole episode of Echo. I mean, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, now you've got to write her in as a anti-hero, non-villain. Like, so I don't know how organic that would be with a cameo.
And then everybody on the team has to know.
Now she could fit into this team that was at the end of
Thundercats
of the Marvels, the one that they introduced. She could be in that team.
Oh, see, I haven't seen
Marvels. Unfortunately,
you haven't seen Marvels.
A lot of it has to do with scheduling too, because they've got to bring all 8 of her ancestors along with it.
That's what I was saying. Hey guys, I got a crew here. You got to.
Yeah, I've got my own crew.
Here's Biscuits. He's coming with me.
Biscuits. Team Biscuits.
Great grandma's staying in the top bunk.
Yeah, that's right. She's kind of blue, but she'll have clay breaking off her. No, I liked it overall, but I just it wasn't. There's good and bad on it.
And Red, any final thoughts on Echo before we cut you loose?
No. This will be my final thought of Echo ever.
Ever. That's fair. That's fair. Well, I know the people were glad to see you back on here. I know we haven't been doing shows that you're watching. I know you don't watch the cartoons, so you haven't been around in a minute. But I don't know when the next thing is. When's the next Star Wars or Marvel thing coming out? I don't think anybody knows.
Deadpool in July for sure.
Yeah,
that's so far away.
Wait, is there not going to be something else? At least a Star Wars show before Deadpool comes out?
There are things in the can, but I don't know.
I've heard Skeleton Crew has been pushed a bit.
Yeah, I thought May for it, but I think that's not the case.
I think they want Acolyte to come out first.
I do too.
Well, here's the thing about streaming shows, guys. They never announce dates for those things. They have a month in advance. They'll tell you spring and summer, and that's it. That's what they'll tell you.
I imagine that
Are we getting Acolyte this year?
Oh yeah, it's done. It's basically they might be doing some post on it, but I mean, I think it's pretty much done.
I think Skeleton Crew is done.
It's
too.
done. They're still shooting. I think
we haven't seen anything from Skeleton Crew, right?
There was a trailer at a celebration or some
leaked trailer.
Okay, well, I saw the leaked Acolyte trailer, but maybe not
there's a leaked Skeleton Crew. Yeah, it's out there. You can look it up. Right. It has a very Amblin feel to it, which is what they're wanting to go with that. It's kids get trapped and Jude Law helps them, and that type of thing. So
and
we'll
possibly rescue Ahsoka and Sabine.
No, they're not going to rescue Ahsoka and Sabine. So don't even put that out there.
Got to get them all back for all these movies they got coming
but we're gonna run into Zeb on this.
No, Brian.
Yes, let's get some Zeb. I'm all in.
Andor did not. No. Andor did. Diego Luna still has a week to film. He did not. They did not wrap principal photography on that.
That's probably not coming until 2025.
That was as of yesterday at the Emmys on the red carpet. He said he still had a week to film. So,
all right,
maybe December this year, but.
We don't have to keep talking about that mid show. It's okay. It's all right, guys.
Yeah, it's not even Star Wars.
It's not even Star Wars. No, that show will not be out until. Yeah, that show will not be out until 2025. Yeah.
No, it's not Wheel of Time. What? Actually, I like Wheel of Time, but
God.
Point proven.
All right, Rhett and Dr. O, we're going to cut you guys loose. Thanks for hanging out. We'll have you both back on for whenever the next thing we do.
This is a ASL for goodbye.
Oh my god! Oh my god! No, I should have cut him loose before that. I knew I should have cut him loose. I had to get that wave in. Andy, thanks for hanging out. Let's see. You have unfunniest. It's not a comedy. It's Percy Jackson's not a comedy. I don't know. I liked this episode because I freaking love the Edge. I do. I'm sorry. I'm a WWE guy. I loved the freaking Edge as Ares. I thought that was awesome. Brian, talk to you later, man. Thanks for hanging out. All these people clearly don't watch Percy Jackson. So
except for the influx of the Percy Jackson people.
Yes, everybody's diving out because we're now moving on. Yeah, it was. You're right, Andy. It was a bit. I'll agree with that. It was a bit darker than the other episodes.
It should be.
It should be though. Yes, I appreciate it. And other Andrew, there's Andy and Andrew in the chat. So Garrison, how did this do with following the books? You're our book guy. So how did this go? Was there any changes in? Well, the thing that I want to know is Ares at least similar to how he is in the book?
Sure. Yeah, I think his nature just kind of he's excited about war, you know, and he wants war to happen. He especially wants war to happen between the gods.
Yeah.
So he's not exactly that motivated to find the bolt,
Mm-hmm.
as you can see
Yes,
in the
very much.
episode.
Yeah.
You know, and Grover starts feeding him some things. That's not necessarily in the book. The Grover feeding him stuff, that whole interaction. But I'll say this. All the changes from the book in this episode, for the most part, I actually kind of liked a bit. I if I were writing a show, I'd stick much closer to the book, just because I feel like the reveals and setup for certain things are just better done in the books. But I mean, almost everything in this episode was played out in a different way, if that makes sense. Events and things that happen are from the book. Ares meets them in the diner. They're already in a diner. He pulls up in his motorcycle.
Okay.
That's not a big change to me.
I kind of liked what they did, having him confront them on the road, and he's like, hey, if you guys want to come hear what I have to say, meet me down the road at this restaurant. I kind of like that.
He shows up to the diner, and they're sitting there, and I think kind of people are starting to go, oh, are those the kids on the news? Because
I noticed that.
That's kind of a big part of the story, is that they're starting to get noticed more and more as these kids wreaking havoc across America, because the people can't see past the mist, as they call it in the books. They can't see the mythical things happening around them, so they just see these kids causing mayhem and blowing up things. And so it looks really bad on Percy's part. Of course, that eventually gets spun. I mean, that's not really a spoiler, but they eventually find a way to kind of PR their way out of that. But I thought it was interesting in the books, specifically when he comes in the diner. It's kind of mentioned, and you see it a little bit at the end of this episode, I feel like. But Percy starts getting really angry and starts mouthing off at Ares, just from minute one. And internally, Percy's like, Ares is doing this to me. Like, being around him is causing me to get angrier and angrier.
Okay.
He's pushing on my anger, basically, and trying to goad me into this conflict with him, basically. And that's not necessarily portrayed until about the end of the episode, I feel like. And even then, I don't know that Ares is doing that specifically.
Intentionally, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know that he's intentionally doing it the full time in the books either. I think it's just kind of a thing he does. He kind of brings this air around him, which fits with the God of War. I did like the Edge's performance. Going to Hephaestus's park, that is in the books. The difference there is that the trap, just to get this out of the way real quick, the trap in the books is he is going to catch the two of them cheating in the act. And so he has like a way to trap them, basically, and a camera turns on that goes live to Mount Olympus. So Mount Olympus then sees that it's not Ares, and it's kind of embarrassing to Hephaestus or whatever, because it's Percy and Annabeth there, and not the cheating lovers there. Because Ares convinced him to go get the shield instead and fall into the trap that Ares knew was a trap, of course.
Of course he did.
There's no chair. There's no like almost sacrifice in the book. That's all new to the show. I didn't mind that, though. I thought that scene was interesting. I thought the exposition the guy was giving was interesting. I also liked, last thing I'll point out before obviously we start having an actual discussion.
No, you're good.
I liked that Ares brought up the discussion of Kronos and what exactly happened, and how they were kind of bred out of fighting. The gods fought Kronos, chopped him up into a million pieces, and threw him into the pit of Tartarus or whatever. I don't know if he specifically says those words, but that's an important piece of mythology, not just in Greek mythology, but for this series going forward.
Interesting.
It's one of the first things mentioned in chapter 1 by Chiron in the books. He doesn't say it in the first episode, but that's why I like that it was kind of dropped here.
So Jacob, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, I think it was good. I think it was similar to the other ones. Like, I have similar feelings on it, where it's this has been an enjoyable show. Like, it's not necessarily like there's not always that many like thoughts that it provokes from me, but like I'm enjoying that I'm watching it. I think maybe this was one of the weaker acting episodes, not necessarily from Scoble or Leah Jeffries, but from the guy who's playing Grover. He had kind of more lines with an adult, and I don't know if it worked fully. And that could also be the fact that the Edge maybe isn't the world's greatest actor either.
How dare you? How dare you? The Edge is the best.
Money played. But so like that's really like my only critiques. I like the whole tunnel of love thing.
Yeah. It was the first time that we've kind of seen the characters in a while like separate from each other. So like Grover kind of gets left behind, and you've got Annabeth and Percy kind of going on their own way or whatever.
I like the stuff at the beginning as well, by the way, about like Annabeth running up and giving him a hug, and like
yes,
I like some of that stuff kind of starting to develop where I'm starting to care about the Annabeth character more, whereas before she was very like, this gal is just a total nothing right now. Like she's just kind of a dick.
Right.
Yeah. I think they've done a disservice to her in this show. And I think they don't realize that.
They might be slow rolling it more, like making the character develop slower than they did in the book for some reason.
They sort of are. I don't get why you do that though.
I don't either. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's because it's only 8 episodes, so I mean we're over halfway. I mean we've only got a few left, but this episode was good. I saw some character moments in her that at least I'm seeing something different out of the character. So I liked it. I mean, I like the way she's going, but maybe it took her a little bit too long to get to this point. There could have been opportunities, where they could have done this a little bit quicker, but it is what it is. Percy's getting to have more hero moments, which is what you want to see. I mean, on your hero's journey, you want to see this guy become like he's kind of had to grow into being the hero. And I think that they're giving him more and more hero moments as the season progresses. I
did like the anger from him too. Is like, that's an interesting path that like, I don't know if they'll go down it, but like, that's just more than I thought we'd see necessarily from.
No, it's a very prevalent part of his kind of conflict between him and Ares in the book. And I like that it was there at the end, because as I was watching the diner scenes, I was like, okay, so when are people going to start getting angry?
Right.
And when is maybe Percy going to realize that that's being pushed on by Ares himself? And I wonder if maybe that's what was happening at the end of the episode. I don't know. But
so not to spoil, I don't want to spoil it for myself mainly, but not to spoil it for anybody else. But I mean, so this Ares character, does he know that he is doing that to Percy? Would that spoil stuff if you said too much about that?
I don't see. That's what I read this again about a month ago now.
Yeah.
So details are starting to fade a little bit, but from what I remember,
or is that just an error that he puts out because he's Ares?
I think there's kind of a question there in the book of kind of whether or not that's on purpose. I feel like it kind of is.
Yeah.
I feel like he just kind of, again, he kind of breeds
exudes
conflict.
War. Yeah. Just like
so
the whole concept.
I would say it's on
it,
purpose. Yeah.
I mean, I liked the conversation that he had with Grover. It like you said, Jacob, it may not have been like the best well acted moments or whatever, because how much is the Edge going to give back to you when you're trying to act with him? I don't know, but I mean he's pretty good. But the Grover trying to get him to rethink some of the conflicts that he had in the past, like some of the wars that he had in the past, that the ones where they ended quickly, and the conflict was resolved quickly, and it sort of made Ares think a little bit about that whole process. So I kind of liked that conversation that they had.
That's an entirely new conversation, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
And I did like that a lot, and just kind of having Ares sit there. You're playing mind games with Ares is what he's doing.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I'm glad that there's food in this episode for Grover to enjoy. I mean, because pretty much every episode there should be food. There should be Grover eating. Although I don't think we ever saw him take a bite of the hamburger or whatever. But they kept, like, the hamburgers were definitely depleted by the time we got back. Like, it would cut away to Percy and Annabeth, and then it would cut back and there'd be less food in front of, so we know they're eating it at least.
See, maybe they should have been eating during the episode. It's like the Oceans thing where like, who is it? Matt Damon, George Clooney are like always eating in it.
Yes.
And it like makes their acting like that much better. Maybe that would have helped Copeland and Grover.
Yeah, and even like I can't. There was some interview that I saw with someone that they were talking about like what a good thing for actors to do is to be doing something with their hands while they're doing their scenes or whatever. Like be making food or be doing something where, because it makes, as a viewer, it makes everything seem that much more authentic.
Yeah.
Like, and Jodie Foster is really good at that in True Detective, that first episode, that she's really good at like just doing stuff in the kitchen. It's like feels so natural that you just don't even remember that you're watching a show sometimes. She's just so good at doing that. But anyways, Garrison, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I do want to point out, I don't know if he said it on the show, but the reason why you probably didn't see Grover eat a hamburger is because he's like a vegetarian.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
I think
well, that makes
either
sense.
You've mentioned it or
he's
somebody's
a nature, he's like a nature
he's a
spirit
hippie
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So he doesn't eat animals.
Which they shouldn't have showed those hamburgers. I guess Ares was just chowing down on all those.
In the books, one of the things they'll eat a lot, I'll just go ahead and say this because I feel like we've gotten to the point where they would have shown it. I don't know. Maybe they'll eventually show it. But he would eat like aluminum and stuff like that. Sometimes. Yeah. I mean, like
a goat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So.
Yeah, they have definitely not done that yet in the series. I don't know that we'll get to see that, but
he's just eating the train.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Like if he was just like randomly eating. Maybe they chose not to do that for the show because it would just be so weird to see him just chowing down.
Eat like I feel like he'll eat like 10 cans and stuff like that. That's what he would eat. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's very goat like. It's like trash almost, like a tin can, just like that's very goat like. So that's interesting. What are we missing? So the significance, I mean, obviously Ares knew that the guy that created all those traps wanted him to be there and not Percy, which is why he's kind of using Percy and Annabeth to go get that shield just to tick off that other god, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because he wants a war. He wants to he always wants conflict, basically. So that's interesting.
And he wants to avoid the trap, right?
And avoid the trap.
He wants a shield and to avoid the trap, which
so he's not the
different.
He's not the best guy.
The one in the book would have embarrassed Ares and what's her name that he was cheating with? Was it Aphrodite?
Aphrodite, yes.
Yeah. It would have embarrassed them, but this one like would have sacrificed a life. I mean, like it got a little bit darker than the book did.
Second movie.
Don't answer that.
I didn't watch the movies. The movies, so I don't know. I chose not to watch those movies back when they came out, and I've never read the books, so I'm just gonna have to. Yeah, I don't want to be spoiled on anything.
I never saw the second movie. The ending of this episode, Grover says he knew who stole the boat. Bolt. I know who stole the boat. Bolt.
Of course. Yeah, I've read the
books.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the second movie though, so
yeah,
I can't confirm or deny anything.
Yeah, the second. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people saw that second movie.
The first one was just a bad adaptation.
But the good news that we got about this show this week is that it's doing really well for Disney Plus. So we're pretty much assured a second season. I mean, at this point, it's doing well enough.
And Rick said they're well on their way of writing the second season Bible, basically. So
okay, that's cool.
You know, I'm pretty sure it'll get picked up for something.
Yeah, I'm
sure they'll announce it like right after the finale or something.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be good. Well, I don't necessarily have anything else. Did we miss any key plot points or anything that happened, Garrison?
I mean, I talked about a lot of the things.
Yeah.
Kind of connected to the books. I can't really, I guess I could ask you guys who do you think stole the bolt? Do you think it was Hades? Do you think it was someone else? Because if Grover's saying that, then maybe there's different answers out there.
I think it was Percy's mom.
I'm going to say Zeus had the bolt stolen for a nice twist.
Interesting. No.
And I also know nothing, for the record.
I know nothing. I think it would be an interesting plot twist if it was Percy's mom that stole the bolt, but I don't know why I don't know what her motivation would be.
Or how she could, because she's human.
I know not only who stole the bolt, but how they stole the bolt. If we're following book canon,
what is this, Clue?
In
the broom closet?
I know more than that, but yeah. I can't say more because I feel like that would spoil some stuff. So.
Yeah, we don't need to spoil anything. Well, we will definitely be back next week, though, for episode 6 of Percy. And it'll just be, there won't be any Marvel stuff to add to it. So it's just going to be episode 6 of Percy. So that'll be interesting, which is actually available right now on Disney Plus.
And this is the Lotus episode, the Lotus Casino episode, which is a big plot point in the book. That is in the first movie. It's one of the more accurate things.
We took a zebra to Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, that's a chapter title from the.
We took a zebra to Las Vegas, and I saw that what's his face was going to be back in this episode. Which
Lynn.
Whatever.
I really hope he sings the whole time.
I don't remember Hermes being in the Lotus Casino. Now, I will say. Some really interesting things that happens in the Lotus Casino. I'll be interested to see how they adapt all that stuff.
Is there anybody wearing a red rose in the Lotus Casino?
A red punt? What do they call it? Palm?
I can't remember what they called it. It was a red palm.
I haven't seen that movie. What year did that come out? 2017?
2017, yeah.
I probably haven't seen that movie since like 2018, 2019.
I haven't watched it maybe since it came out. I haven't rewatched it at home at all.
I've rewatched it at home.
Last Jedi. The rose.
Now, why aren't they going to Caesar's Palace in Vegas?
I know
that the Lotus. The Lotus is
in it.
You know what? Just watch.
We'll just have to.
Yeah, I don't want to.
It's a secret room in Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
Maybe. You don't have to confirm or deny.
You know.
No, it's not. I'll deny that. But.
Well, Jacob, what is to come for a good day in the for a movie podcast? I like this current episode. It's a movie I had never seen.
Yep, American Animals.
American Animals. I don't know that based upon the review that I will take the time to see it, but
yeah, it was fine. Really
got a good cast.
Good cast, top tier directing, and like the way he tells the story is top tier. The story itself maybe a little bit lacking. If you do listen to that episode, I will warn you. If you don't like harsh language, there's a certain word that is said many times in the first.
That British people say all the time.
Australians love this word.
Australian and British people love it.
See you next Tuesday. I get called it. I call it back to Sage. Yeah,
it's a lot. Sage gets fired up in this episode.
He does for no reason, and it was all his fault.
Yeah, he's very fired up.
But next episode, it is Sage's pick. Even though he threw a temper tantrum, we still let him have his pick.
Yeah,
and he picked Into the Wild.
Never seen it. I might need to watch it.
I watched it freshman year of high school.
Yeah,
in English class because I think we read the book. From what I remember, it was fine. It's I don't know. Yeah. Dumb kid doing dumb things.
Yeah.
Dumb book too.
Right.
That's a book that I should have read more of, but as a student, I was very good at passing tests on books and writing essays about books without reading them.
I did like your reference. I don't know if it was you or someone else that referenced Hatchet. I was like, oh, that's an awesome book.
I think Tate may have referenced that, but he doesn't get credit for that because I referenced it a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
On the podcast. Okay. So
freaking awesome book.
But yeah, that's like one of the 10 books that I've read. 10's like a generous number.
It's fair. Well, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Roth from Wyoming, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. I am logging movies again.
Nice.
I think I'm at 8. Should be logging number 9 tonight. I do believe. It may be past lives. I may just bite the bullet and rent the thing.
So good. So good. Garrison, I saw you rented it.
I saw you logged it. You did not rate it.
He did not rate it yet. I'm worried.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it yet. Okay.
I spent a whole day binging Echo, and
of course,
I had a bunch of other.
All my fault.
I had a bunch of other things to do, and by the time I had like 2 hours left in the day, and that was an hour 45, and I started the movie. I was 7 minutes in. I was really into it, and I was like, I just thought to myself, I just don't have time. I need to do other stuff. So it's the next film I'll watch. It's film number 11 of the year for me. Part of my 2023 catch up. I bought the movie a while back.
You bought it. Okay.
I'm ready to watch it. I can watch it anytime. I just haven't.
I'm down to 19 2023 movies and documentaries that I have to see.
Oh man,
by award season.
Well, my have to see list is whatever the Deucey's puts out because
this is my list.
Be a while though, guys.
This is my list that I am guessing. I'm hoping will cover a lot of that.
That's what I do too. Yeah.
You'll know the Oscar nominations next Tuesday. I mean, they drop next Tuesday, so you'll know.
I try to see all the Best Picture noms, and I try to and I watch all the Deucey noms.
There's 2 movies I really don't want to be on the Best Picture nomination list for the Oscars, and that's Origin and The Color Purple, because I really don't want to watch either one of those. Origin's that Ava DuVernay's new movie, and I just really don't want to watch that or Color Purple, but I'm afraid they're both going to be nominated for Best Picture. So, anyways, well, I am at the Michael Nip. Garrison, I'm sorry. Where can people find you on the interweb?
You can find me at grifen3 on Instagram and Letterboxd. Out of Twitter, you can find me on Letterboxd at grifen, GRYFUN. I've logged some movies there recently, as I mentioned. Trying to catch up on 2023, and that's about it.
Awesome. Well, I'm at the Michael Nip on Twitter. I have a Letterboxd account as well. I'm at 16 movies for the year so far. So I'm on par with one a day. I don't know how long I'm going to keep that up though. We'll see. I don't know. Right now it's been pretty easy, so we'll see. And there's only a couple. Like I kind of want to. The only 2 movies left that I need to watch are probably Zone of Interest, because I know it's going to be nominated for Best Picture, and that's going to be a snooze fest. But I'm not interested in the subject matter at all. That is not going to be an enjoyable watch, but apparently it's critically acclaimed. So
I need to see Anatomy of a Fall so bad.
So Earl loved it, and I did not. So there you go. I mean, I thought the acting was really good in it, but I could care less about the story. Earl loved every bit of it. Earl gave it like 5 stars or something ridiculous. I mean, not that he's got a Letterboxd account, but he did love Anatomy of a Fall, and a lot of people do. I mean, maybe I'm just the odd man out, but it just was not for me. I mean, it was not something I enjoyed watching.
It looks like it's up my alley. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. I mean, it should have been something I enjoyed, but I didn't care about the main character, and her motivations.
Right, I'll add that one to the watch list too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get nominated for Best Picture for sure. Okay. I mean, because it's been everything else. So, anyways, we'll be back next week for sure, though, to talk about Percy Jackson episode 6. I really appreciate everyone that hung out in the chat tonight. It does make it a lot more fun for us when the chat is humming like it was tonight. And so we will definitely see you guys next week. Hope everybody has a great week. Talk to y'all later.